Hello and welcome back to W-Rated, the podcast where we willingly watch the world's worst rated movies. In today's episode, we are delving into a brand new film on IMDb's bottom 100 list, which has also been featured in the Razzies nominations for this year. So rather than doing a mini episode, we are going full-blown, full W-Rated treatment for the film of today. For any new listeners, my name's Daisy, and as always, I'm joined by podcast co-creator, editor, and host, Claire. Claire, how are you doing?
Hello, I'm good. Apologies up front for any audio issues. I am quite literally recording from my MacBook in a wardrobe. So,
well,
we will see how this comes up.
We've just discovered that the whole time I've been in my new flat when I've been recording, the Audacity hasn't been recognising my microphone as an input source. So if anyone should be apologising for audio, it's me. I'm the problem.
Audio
it's me.
All around.
But you know what? I'm just so clever in other aspects of my life. It wouldn't be fair to you all if I was clever day to day as well. So today we're keeping it in the family. We're just going for the OG podcast hosts for our new film.
Much like the film we're talking about,
Yeah.
They could have gone for a group, but they went, let's do the iconic duo first.
Oh, yes! That's such a good point. Tag yourself. Who are you? I think we can decide by the end of the episode. I'll do my best impression of one of them.
Okay.
So, Claire, usually we ask the guests to intro the film, but do you want to tell us what film we are talking about today?
We are doing Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, which is directed and written by Rhys Frake-Waterfield, who also produced it. It was released in 2023. It's a British movie, and I'll do my little Razzie bit as well up the top. So it was nominated for 5 Razzies in the 2024 awards, including Worst Picture, Worst Director for Rhys Frake-Waterfield, Worst Screen Couple for Pooh and Piglet as bloodthirsty slasher killers, the Worst Prequel, Remake, Rip-Off or Sequel, and the Worst Screenplay. So that's 5 awards pending for this film. Yeah. We can talk about the film, we can talk about the awards, we can talk about whatever we want, Daisy.
There's just a plethora of options to go down now. What I found really interesting when looking at the background of this film was about the creator. So Rhys Frake-Waterfield, I looked into his previous credits. This is his first theatrical film of his career, but he does have 31 producer credits since 2021, so he is churning them out, and this is his 4th directed feature length.
And they're all British independent horrors.
Yes, from very much of all of the same vein. So he clearly has his eye on the prize in terms of what he wants to go for. So this one, though, is, I think, his first foray into public domain characters. And
it's actually, I'm sure we'll get into it later for our research, but he's learned a lot from it, and he's trying to teach others.
Oh, really?
Which is nice. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm looking forward to it.
I can do that now if you want. I interrupted you so rudely. So the context of this film, for people that don't know, just quickly, and we'll go into it more, I'm sure, is that the AA Milne Winnie the Pooh characters are now in the public domain. They are no longer copyrighted. Anyone can use them in any media that they so wish. But the Disney versions of Winnie the Pooh are not. They are still copyrighted from the 60s. So there are certain things. So Winnie the Pooh cannot wear a red t-shirt, his little red t-shirt. Not allowed, because that is Disney. That was never an A.O. Milne story. Likewise, Piglet's little, he was always green, and then Tigger is not in this film, because Tigger was only added into the stories later.
Right.
So at the time of filming, Tigger was not in the public domain, so anything Disney could have copyrighted them for. But anyway, he's been talking, so since this has happened, Steamboat Willie has also entered the domain. Not Mickey Mouse, Steamboat Willie the character. So loads of people are jumping on it. There are already 2 proposed horror film adaptations in the works and a video game horror adaptation of Steamboat Willie. But Rhys, our director here, has kind of warned people. He said he is not going to do a Steamboat Willie movie because he had so many issues making this film with Disney. Now, I don't think Disney actually ever came for him, but he had to keep asking things because Disney are mad on litigation. And basically he said that his entire first script had to be completely thrown out because Disney could have come in and sued the fuck out of him, and that all the things he wanted to do
based on Disney
weren't possible. So just a lot of the story elements that, even though they are in the original works, they're also in the Disney works.
That doesn't seem fair.
Well, but Disney can claim that, and so even though it might not make it through in court, Disney obviously have so many lawyers, they would just bury him. It would probably never get to court because you're up against the House of Mouse versus you, a tiny little independent filmmaker. But so yeah, he's basically kind of been saying to people like he wouldn't recommend they do Steamboat Willie, that he'll not be doing Steamboat Willie. But he said it was like a really fascinating learning curve. But he is doing more IP works in the future.
What I don't understand though is, I came across this in my research, the copyright for Winnie the Pooh isn't up in the UK. It's up in the States. So I don't understand how he got away with this. Because copyright law in the UK is 70 years after the death of the author, and A.A. Milne hasn't been dead for 70 years. But because genuinely don't get how that works.
But I think it's the characters. I think that's the thing. The characters are in the public domain, not the adaptation of A.A. Milne's story.
Right. I mean, I looked it up and it still kind of was indicating that was the case. Yeah. But I guess the thing is, when it's like, he could have had there could have been like a stipulation or a loophole where if the production company was registered in the US, it means it's okay, or something like that. Because everything's so borderless when it comes to these sorts of things.
Especially with independent filmmaking. Like, so it was, is it IGN that funded this? ITN.
Is that ITN as in ITN of ITV?
I did wonder that. So the production companies are Jagged Edge and ITN. Let me have a little... No, so Jagged Edge is actually the director's company. So they are a British company. But obviously Winnie the Pooh got worldwide distribution.
That's what I mean as well. That's what was confusing.
And ITN is also from London. So I don't know, actually.
Not sure.
That is quite interesting.
Maybe it's your point about the characters, but yeah, I was reading into it and it didn't... It seemed like that everything had already kind of been...
But yeah, I would imagine it's probably some sort of loophole then to do with the characters, because that's, I think, what he was implying as well, was a lot of the issue with Disney, because Disney bought the rights to adapt A.A. Milne's stories, but then they made changes which make them the Disney version and things like that. So I think that's why, obviously, there's almost none of the story of Winnie the Pooh is in this. The characters are there, the fact that they grew up in 100 Acre Woods is there, and that they hung out with Christopher Robin, that's there, but there's pretty much no other elements.
Because you're right, because even if he could say, oh, but it was in the original story, if they have adapted it and it's close, whilst it might not hold up in court, who the fuck has the money to take Disney to court? To go up against Disney in court? Yeah, that makes sense. So we've spoken about that this is an adaptation and that it doesn't really go with the story. But before we sort of delve into what the story actually...
This is going to be a scattergun episode, I think. Yeah,
because we're getting back into doing normal episodes again. We actually have a structure.
Do we?
My notes would imply, but I don't know. It's a rough guideline.
I wrote that outline and I've not looked at that outline in 4 years, and I don't even think I wrote it 4 years ago.
So I just wanted to touch on who is starring in the film as well. So Craig, I love this name, Craig David Dowsett as Winnie the Pooh. Chris Cordell as Piglet, with Amber Doig-Thorne, Nikolai Leon, Maria Taylor, Natasha Rose Mills, and Danielle Ronald in supporting roles. I didn't delve too deep, but I did have a little look while I was watching. I don't think they've been in big stuff.
No, because I was convinced I recognised a couple of them from like Coronation
or like
Street or
Hollyoaks
something.
Yeah, me too.
It was giving like mad Brookside vibes. I feel like you might have been too young to ever watch Brookside.
Oh no, I
but it was giving
remember
me,
Ray on Brookside.
yeah, just giving me mad Brookside vibes. I felt like all of these girls would have been in Brookside. But yeah, but I think it's just they all look like young British women in their 20s, to be completely honest.
That's why they look recognisable to us, because we're years.
Like, have I seen you at a club?
Yeah, I mean, we probably have at some point. They filmed in Ashdown, which is round the corner from me now, so you never know.
Yes.
I could see them walking around if they're from around here.
And it's not too far from where I used to live and will be living again soon. And I have actually been to Ashdown and spent time there in the 100 Acre Wood.
Hopefully a much more pleasant experience than...
It was a lovely day. I wore a big princess... Well, not a big princess dress, but I wore a very nice dress with like a big skirt, but it was short. And went with my then boyfriend, and we bought a picnic basket, and we spent the day walking around playing poo sticks and eating treats and met some horses, and then we went to the Winnie the Pooh cafe afterwards. I bought a little pin and we did some colouring in.
They actually have like a little cafe for it.
Just when you get there, there's like a little cafe that you can just get, like, we got a cup of tea and some Victoria sponge.
That's lovely. That's the
It was a lovely
complete opposite of what vibes this film brings. Just before, I did want to point out, I did pull one title from one of the actors. The actor that plays Piglet, Chris Cordell, he has previously been in the film The Curse of Humpty Dumpty. So we know he is perfect for the job because he's got that classic adaptation.
The Curse of Humpty Dumpty?
Huh?
What is the curse of
it's just one of these like independent
But like, what is his curse?
That he fell down and broke.
Oh yeah.
The fact he's implied to be an Eggman.
You've seen Puss in Boots, the first one, right?
Yeah.
The only adaptation of Humpty Dumpty I need.
Wait, who voices him again? Is it Josh Gad?
No, I feel like it's someone older. I feel like it's your man from Secretary.
Who?
I've probably made that up.
Do you mean?
Oh, it's Zach Galifianakis.
Oh, yes. They're in the same realm.
They are. Josh Gad's kind of taken over from him. I thought it was James Spader.
That's what I was trying to think of the name of. Oh my god, that is so not close. James Spader was brilliant.
It's been a while.
The voice of
would have been brilliant.
Ultron.
Yeah, I would have loved a James Spader Humpty Dumpty.
I think if James Spader does any kind of version of anything, it's definitely going to be interesting. Anyway, we digress.
Yeah.
So, the film, going to the story, I have a synopsis here, very short. Follows Pooh and Piglet, who have become feral, bloodthirsty murderers, as they terrorise a group of young university women and Christopher Robin when he returns to the 100 Acre Wood 5 years later after leaving for college. I love how they mix university and college together in that line. I did take it from Wikipedia, so, whoever contributed that, thanks. Sorry about it. But yeah, it's a pretty standard setup for a slasher. Spoilers going in now if you don't want anything spoiled. Go away, rethink about whether you really want to watch this film. Watch it by all means, but once you're back, or if you don't care, we're going into spoilers. So yes, very, very classic setup for slasher. A house, a group of young people who get clipped off one by one. There's not really much more to it than that, is there?
Not really, no. There is a sort of subplot. It's a group of young women, and one of them has been stalked. Mm-hmm. So she is already wary, and she had a break-in in her house from a stalker, and so she does tell her friends about her experience. So that's a bit of the subplot there to kind of let you know that they're a little bit on edge, and that, like, she's a survivor.
And they do set up the 100 Acre Wood gang and Christopher Robin as something that kind of gets dropped. But at the beginning, there was some I quite liked the animation at the beginning.
I thought the animation was great. It was really creepy. I thought it was really interesting. So they said So in the film, even though it talks about the 100 Acre Gang, the 100 Acre Gang is Pooh Bear, Piglet, Owl, Rabbit, and Eeyore. Tigger isn't mentioned because, as I said up front, because I was really upset about Tigger because Tigger's my fave. But he wasn't in public domain yet. He is and will be in the soon-to-come sequel.
Thank God for that.
We do not see any of the characters apart from Pooh and Piglet. When we see them at the start of the movie, it is in a hand-drawn animation style, which is terrifying and really effective. Not terrifying, but like eerie. Yeah. It's just good animation and really good use of like low budget. Like, how can you turn your low budget into actually something that supports the film? They have said the reason, so even though they are mentioned, we only see Pooh and Piglet, and they said the main reason for that was budgetary constraints. They couldn't afford actors and costumes, but that they do intend to have all of them in the second one. But then they also said it also works better for the film that it let you focus on Pooh and Piglet and let them set them up as the kind of main ones. So then in sequels, you can then introduce further characters and not be overwhelmed.
Yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, really liked the opening. I thought it went off to quite a good start, and then you get
there's some cannibalism.
Yeah,
I was eating food at the time. Oh, no. It was poorly planned.
And you were like, which cuddly creature is this?
I watched this film on a tablet in Gatwick Airport yesterday. So,
We've got another travelling film.
I started watching it at 8:30 in the morning at Nando's, and just as my food arrived, they ate Eeyore.
Oh my God, what did you have at 8:30 at Nando's? Do they just sell...
Look, I'm not going to... They do breakfast. They do a whole breakfast menu, except that they also do a chicken burger and fries, and so obviously I got the chicken burger fries and a halloumi side.
Anyway, at least you didn't eat any cuddly creatures.
Well, because I got really upset about it, and then I was like, I am literally eating animals right now. And then I got really complex into my feelings.
So you don't
have
to see those vegan documentaries, you just have to watch the beginning of this.
Well, I watched Okja and went vegetarian for like 6 months, so...
Plunging home, making it happen for the animal community.
Oh, that film was traumatizing. But yeah, so... Oh, it really... I had to pause it multiple times because I was sobbing so much. It really, really got to me. But yeah, where was it going? Yeah, so straight up, they just let you know where it's going. Yeah. They eat Eeyore. You don't see it, but it's through the animation style, heavily implied, very sad. And they blame Christopher Robin for the fact that they had to go all cannibal. Yeah, because basically they imply that without Christopher Robin bringing them picnics, they don't know how to fend for themselves. Because they're like hybrid. They said they're like human-animal hybrids. Yeah, that they would be seen as monstrosities, but that Christopher Robin thought they were really cute. Yeah. But it's also, in fairness, a very valid point, and it is really bad to feed wild animals because they do come to rely on you, and then if you get bored or you leave, those animals no longer know how to fend for themselves. So it is actually a very valid eco point. Don't fuck with wild animals, leave them be. Because... yeah, it's not good for them. Added a whole new layer, like a new lens for me to view this film now. But it's true, like, you're not meant to feed birds unless you're committing to feeding them. Really? If you put a bird feeder up, you're going to attract a whole family of birds, and then when you get bored and stop filling it, they don't know because they got bird brains. Yeah, they're like, just don't fuck with wild animals, guys. Okay, well, I mean, I didn't ask for the pigeons on my balcony. just an inside joke. Call back. So then it. So they imply that it's Chris Robin's fault. I really like looking at it through that lens, actually. And had they led into that a bit more as like that the message, I think that would have been quite funny and like just a bit like winking. So they then jump away from the animation to an adult Christopher Robin taking his girlfriend into the woods, and then his wife. And then they discuss about essentially what they're doing is trying to find the gang. She's already freaked out. She wants to leave. She is not happy. She's like, she says that she supports him, but at the same time, it's like when someone tells you what they believe,
this. You can't...
Honey, I support you into walking home and going to therapy.
Yeah, exactly. So you can see that that's the characterization there. But she allows him to at least exhaust this possibility first, until they get a bit lost, but they happen upon some nice digs, little tree house and such, little... Terrifying
digs. Why, like, this is what I didn't understand. I know it's the same with every horror movie, so I don't know why I'm already getting annoyed. If I went into the woods today and saw that...
You're in for a big surprise.
No way I'm fucking going in. When we were in 100 Acre Woods, we found a little shack, and we were like, I wonder if that's a real shack. Is that meant to look like Eeyore's house? It was like a little shack made of twigs. And, like, I took a very cutesy photo next to it. I wasn't going all the way in.
In case he was in there waiting.
Yeah, and this was before. Well, Eeyore never went right,
that's
but,
true.
you know.
Justice for
Eeyore
Eeyore.
wouldn't. He didn't have it in him.
Justice for him. No.
That's why they ate him.
I feel like it wouldn't take much for Eeyore to just be like, peace. I'm out here.
I bet Eeyore was like, it's okay, guys. You can eat me.
Yeah.
I might as well go. I can't help
I'm going
anyone.
way ahead now. But I actually did see a good review that was talking about how... basically, if what we learn from Winnie the Pooh is that he has an insatiable hunger for honey, and in the film he is seemingly controlling a what do you call a group of bees?
A swarm
of bees, implying that he can get honey whenever he wants. So he just ate Eeyore for the sake of it.
I missed that bit about the bees.
Oh, you didn't see the bees?
No.
Oh, they popped up a few times. Let's pop a pin in that one. We'll come back to the bees.
In fairness, I am scared of insects, so maybe I like...
Yeah. They weren't like... They didn't linger on them, but they were noticeable. Anyway, what I wanted to imply is... What I wanted to get us onto is sort of the setup for this side of things. So... it doesn't take long before they are exploring and they realise that they are in trouble, and that they shouldn't be there, and they hide, and then you've got the classic sort of slashing. You don't see Pooh or Piglet, etc. until they're getting chased, until they're getting killed or held hostage. So let the slashing commence.
R.I.P. Mrs. Robin.
Yeah, that was pretty gory.
Yeah, it's quick.
So that's kind of the other kind of background to Christopher Robin's character. You assume he dies at the beginning. I don't know if you assumed as well, but...
Yeah, and I was like, oh, interesting, actually. Didn't think they were going there, just ousting him straight from the beginning.
Yeah. And then it goes to focus on the girls. So they all are in the house.
There's like a montage where it kind of says, for the last year, people have been going missing in those woods,
yes,
and don't go to those woods, and that kind of thing.
And they repeated the dialogue a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing...
And then they used the pun that I used earlier, and if you don't go down to the woods today...
Well, I mean, I'm an ardent supporter of puns.
Oh, it's a great one.
But speaking of dialogue, it was the scene before with Christopher Robin, like, running away from Pooh and Piglet, repeating the same 4 lines over and over again, that made me realise,
Stop! Why are you doing this, Pooh? We used to be friends.
You're starting to remember, and it just be like, okay.
Babes, he is murdering your wife. Why are you standing there telling him to stop? He clearly doesn't care.
Yeah. He's clearly not a cute little character either. So you kind of all get set up with now the girls are in the house. They're out for a holiday, and like you've mentioned, the main, I can't actually remember the names of the characters, but the main, maybe Maria, I think might be the main one. But she sort of explains the stalking situation.
Yeah. Maria, played by Maria Taylor.
It explains the stalking situation, and then that's your kind of setup for the horror to ensue. So Claire, we kind of skipped over what we usually do before we talk about it, but we can weave it in. What did you think? Was the film set up to your expectations? what were you thinking going in, and then what did you get once you'd watched it?
Yeah, so I guess normally we talk about like our history of the film, but this is a fairly new release. Like we're recording this start of 2024 or February. This came out, I want to say, like mid or end of 2023. And so my history of it was I've literally only watched it yesterday for this, but it went onto the IMDb bottom 100, I think quite soon after it was released. It ended up on the list very quickly. So I was aware even before the turn of New Year that it was on the list and that at some point we'd have to watch it. And I was like, oh, okay, interesting. But before that, I had seen the headlines, I'd seen the memes. I don't know if I'd seen the whole trailer, but I'd definitely seen bits and bobs and images.
This is April.
Oh, did it come out in April?
March
there we go.
general release, April online.
Yeah, which is probably why I felt like I'd seen a lot of imagery of it. And I remember it like was on the news. Like it got so much press.
Because there
like,
was the biggest story about public domain around it, for sure.
Yeah. So kind of by the time it got round for us watching it, and we were watching it both for the Razzies and then because it's on the list, it kind of did match what I thought. In some ways, it was as bad as I thought it looked and as bad as I assumed it would be when I heard the concept. Because it definitely just, the minute it was announced, it was like, oh, wow, that's a cash grab and a half. But then at the same time, it also, in certain ways, I was like, oh, actually, I'm impressed by that. And like you said a little bit ago, actually just learning about the making of it and the guys behind it, I'm kind of impressed with them and their ingenuity, and like fucking good on them. We let people like Disney, like, and we're both massive Disney fans. Like you're off to Disneyland
just
next
talking
week.
About how excited I am to go to Disneyland.
And like I am an ex-Disney employee. Like we are big Disney girls, but like we let them get away with adapting comic books and all of these things and doing whatever they want with whatever they want. So why shouldn't independent filmmakers get to do the same shit?
That's such a good point. Why is it like completely like respected that companies can do it, but individuals it's like treated like it's horrific?
Like when Disney did Frozen, no one's going, oh, they're taking a Hans Christian Andersen story, what a fucking crash grab. But then with this, like, oh, they're taking the A.M. Milne story, what a cash grab. Well, actually, no, it's just the exact same thing.
That's what Disney's built on. Like, that from the very first,
IP.
it was taking folklore, Brothers Grimm stories.
Yeah.
They never did anything really original for a long time.
Yeah, I think Fantasia was probably one of the first. Like, the Mickey Mouse shorts were all original, in fairness, but feature film-wise, Fantasia is probably the first original and probably one of the few only originals.
I say, though, that was pretty much all based on already written music, though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So it's always... and there's nothing wrong with that, but it's like, why is that okay? Mm-hmm. But why? I just don't understand that people are like, you're ruining our childhood. How? How's this got...
Well, I just loved it. They were like, yes, good.
Yeah, I did like that. That's their response. They were like, that's what we're trying to do.
But yeah, so I found myself actually... I was like a little bit dreading it. We left it till the end and I was a bit like, oh, okay, it's going to be a bit, but like in some ways it was just as bad. Like the gratuitous Pooh, or maybe it was Piglet, but I think it was Pooh, grabbing a girl and magically ripping off her turn.
She had no bra
so she's
on.
Naked. I was like, oh, here we go. But then at the same time, it sounds like these guys are massive horror fans. And if you're doing women being attacked in a house, unfortunately, that is a classic of the genre. It shouldn't be, but it's a classic of the genre of the 70s and the 80s slashers.
Yeah.
So I can see if you're making a slasher and you've been a fan of slasher, well, I think we've moved on as a society, but so it was bits like that had my eyes rolling. But then there were other bits that was like, that is interesting. There were elements of it that, I thought were great. There were elements that I thought were terrible, but then learning about the budgetary constraints, learning about the rewrites, and then learning about how they want to proceed with what now seems to be going to be a franchise. I'm actually quite impressed by the team. I don't think I want to see the second one based on what I've read about it. Good Lord, I don't think I can.
I've not really read much about it.
They said it's going to be heavily inspired by Terrifier 2.
Oh, I don't know much about that either.
So all I know about Terrifier 2 is that it is so disgustingly gory that people genuinely questioned whether some of it was real. So, like, it was made on, like, an ultra-low budget with, like, loads of mad practical effects. It's, like, a big, like, it got a lot of press last year. And obviously some of it's hyperbole, about people being sick, and we get this with every horror movie.
I mean, I've fainted first
You
of
did
all.
frame it a film.
It's not even really a horror film, is it?
No, it wasn't. Though it was uncomfortable. Terrifier 2 just sounds grotesque.
Right.
Obviously, I've said I like a horror film, but my horror credentials are very light. So we'd need to kind of check in with some of our previous guests, like Andrew and Lucy, to see how they feel about it.
Yeah.
But it's basically like just pure grotesqueness, and they've said that they really, really want to do that for the sequel to this. But then I'm like, good on them as well. Like, if
there's an
your genre
audience
is
for
horror,
everything, like, just because we're not, like, it might not be appealing to us, like, we're not going to gatekeep it. And actually, we've said before about judging films in context. It's great that there are audiences for everyone should be allowed to make art. Like, it's good that they have that. As long as no one's being hurt, that's fine. I'd be intrigued.
So you were nodding along to a lot of what I said. So were you in a similar boat?
What, in terms of how I feel about what I expected? Yeah. I didn't really read too much about it, but I saw it be announced. And like, so every week I do some trailer watching. I see what's new on the top of IMDb. Look at what everyone else on the other side is doing whilst we're at the bottom. And that did draw my attention. So I watched the trailer and I just sort of laughed and rolled my eyes, and I was just like, that's going to be on the bottom. So I instantly knew, because this is the kind of stuff that actually you would expect to be on the bottom, but there's not as much of, because people don't tend to watch this stuff in such large amounts. In such large volume of audiences, but because of the notoriety of the public domain, and that it was a well-known character, and it really just the story of the production of it is what made it so popular. And I definitely know if I was at uni when this had come out, a bunch of us would have got together and rented it and watched it for a fun night together, and I can imagine that was happening. Yeah, definitely. Well, what was interesting is that they originally, I read that they were going to do like a one-night event, but because of the popularity of it during production, where have I put it? But they essentially then made it into like a general release. They managed to get distribution. Yeah, because it was meant
to just be nationwide, and then it went worldwide.
It originally set for a nationwide one-night event, but a spike in online popularity expanded it to a major worldwide theatrical release. So, like, good on them. Like,
yeah. I mean, you're an independent filmmaker in some ways, I assume. Like, whenever I think of that, I think of directors and writers, but I guess the producer is also an independent filmmaker.
That's very true.
So, like you're in that sphere. So, why would you not?
I think that's why I do have a lot of respect for these kinds of films, because, and like, again, going back to what we were saying before, I think it's important to judge these things within the context. When you are looking at slop like Quantumania and it's bajillions of money that we would never even make in our whole lives, and then you see something like, I don't know, like this, and you look at the actual money spent, and it's these people's hard-earned money, or they've crowdfunded, so it's their supportive friends and family's hard-earned money, and they're not making a profit. They're probably not paying themselves. They're just doing it out of passion and love. Like, you can't help but respect that, I think.
Yeah, and I think the thing is, like, this has spiked them, and when you look at the budget they're getting for the second one is 10 times the budget they got for this one.
So I'd be interested to see how it improves.
They've getting complete new costumes. I
saw that. Saw the new look mask.
And so I think it's going to be really interesting to see how it goes. Like, I don't really want to watch it because I think I'll be disgusted, but I want to see bits of it.
I'm intrigued.
Out of respect to them. And I'm also just really pleased because, I think that's why I brought you up. Like, as an independent filmmaker, I can only imagine, like, what a dream it must be to think that your film's going to get a tiny little one-night event that's probably just going to be the people that fed into the Kickstarter and friends, family, crew, and then suddenly for it to blow the fuck up like this. Like, that is what a filmmaker sort of, I know not every filmmaker wants to do it for the popularity and the press and the prestige,
but that's
and the
what
money.
Helps you continue to make a career out of it.
So I can imagine it is a dream, and like, wow, good for them.
Yeah, I wonder if they ever imagined it would get that popular. But it's just, I'd love to hear more about that process and how it all was. And I definitely...
And how they're embracing the nonsense.
And I definitely think that has helped me enjoy the film more. It's not without its flaws, absolutely, but I agree with you that I was pleasantly surprised by some of the stuff. And I think the main stuff for me that I was pleasantly surprised by is the stuff that actually, usually with low budget stuff, is the stuff that falls down. So I think it was extremely competently made. I think it looked like someone who knew what they were doing.
Yeah, but it's their reliance on practical effects, which they said was a real sticking point for them, but also a financial point for them. They were like, we don't have the money to do VFX. And so they said they cut a lot of the violence out because they also just didn't have the money to do the violence that they wanted. But the practical effects work. Some of those kills are gruesome. And I think the thing that everyone had an issue with when the first images were released were the costumes. Like, the prosthetic masks look ridiculous. They look so bad.
I thought when the mask thing came out, like the poster and imagery, I thought it was implying that they were slashers dressed up as
But actually, when you watch the film, it's well aware of the limitations, and unfortunately it is a man walking around in caterpillar shoes, which is a bit weird. I struggled with the hands and the feet. I was like, I wish they'd have done a little bit more to make them seem a bit more animally. But then they did from the start tell you they were abominations, which I think was their attempt to
and I
get around that.
really respect that and feel like that should be vouched for, because I think they've thought about these things and they've tried to create something that helps you immerse yourself in that world. And but for me, what I think would have worked really well for Pooh is actually having fur, because I think what took me
it was very
out of it is it looked like latex. And
the thing I would say probably the reason they didn't was because of the amount of blood that splashed on him. I can imagine that would have been a pain for retakes, because there's like a few scenes where he smothers himself in blood, and I was like, oh, but it wouldn't matter because he's meant to be a homicidal maniac. But just even drying it and quick enough to then do another take would be frustrating.
I get it. It's just a shame because I feel like that I would have felt like bought into.
It was the 5-digit hand for me that every time I saw the 5-digit hand, I was like, oh, I wish you had a paw.
Yes.
Like, even if it was, but what I was going to
even if it was like webbed.
But where the first thing I thought that looked awful about this film was the costuming, they used the creepiness, especially of Pooh's face, to such effect.
That's true.
The fact that it was a prosthetic so they couldn't talk actually ended up becoming so terrifying and so sinister. And he, like, when he would just move his lips, I was like, oh, I don't like it. Yeah, it really upset me.
Was it like prosthetic, like, onto their face, or was it just a mask?
No, it was like a latexy. Sorry, I'm saying prosthetic when I mean latex. Yeah. Apologies, but, that's my brain.
Little things like they always made sure the neck was tucked in at the back.
Yeah,
like it's just you should really commend people for these things, because especially with low budget stuff, and attention to detail is the smallest things can take you out. Yeah. So the fact
and they used the creepiness of it. Like they're like, oh god, that looks ridiculous. What
like
the
fuck?
With
the honey dripping out and stuff.
Yeah. They played that up because then you're like, well, in fairness, even though it's very clear that that's a man in a mask, even if I'm having to disassociate my sense of belief to pretend it's not a man in a mask, either way it's terrifying, whether it's a man in a mask or whether it's a hybrid bear creature.
By the end,
it's terrifying.
By the end, when he'd done that weird honey thing and he'd like eaten some blood as well, and he was like, there was like the big standoff at the end with slow walking and everything. And the superhuman strength. I'd really bought into it by that point. I think, this is one of the big things why I couldn't enjoy it, though, is just because I couldn't suspend my disbelief to
that it wasn't a man in a suit.
Yeah, I really respect what they were trying to do with the whole hybrid monstrosity thing, but I think unfortunately budget limitations were always kind of going to get them there a little bit.
And it's funny because one of the things that I thought they should have done, but then I talked myself around, I was like, why didn't they have Piglet walking on all fours? Like, that's terrifying. Like, did you see Megan? When Megan attacks someone, she goes on all fours like animal, even though she's a human, and it's terrifying. So it's like, even if you had humans playing these characters,
because it's the uncanniness of the movement, right?
Yeah, but then I was like, well, in fairness, though, in the stories, they all walk on their hind legs. They all walk like humans. So I was like, actually, they're being more true to the story.
This is the thing. Is that it's difficult because the whole thing is that they're anthropomorphized animals in the story. So unless you can convince me that they are animals walking on two legs, they're always going to look like humans because they're not meant to be animals. They're meant to be human animals. So it's almost like, unless you can... they're humans anyway, so that's fine. You've got that anthropomorphized bit, but you really have to dial into that animal look for it to really be believable. But listen, like Piglet, it's like, I think it's a little bit easier because it's just like a genuine like hog mask, and we've all kind of, you know, we've been there with
scared of giant hogs.
Yeah.
Oh, have we?
Oh yeah, no. You haven't seen Saw?
No, I turned it. Well, my copy broke halfway through, and I was deeply relieved.
Oh my god, so you've never seen any of the other Saw films?
I've seen Saw 2, which I enjoyed, but I watched that at a sleepover in a group, and then I've said this before, then I tried to watch the first one by myself in Halloween in the pandemic, and I was deeply unnerved, and then it broke, and I was really relieved.
Yeah, no, that's fair. But they captured people. One of the... I don't know, like, I don't want to give anything away for people that haven't seen it, but one of the people that captures them is dressed... I know, but it's dressed in a pig mask with hair. It's very scary. I went to Thorpe Park Fright Nights dressed as Billy the Puppet, and I saw someone dressed as Pigman, and I was just like, oh my god, and I like ran. I can't deal with like live actor things, horror things.
So this is my thing. Saw the ride, fucking best roller coaster ever, brilliant. Love it, adore it. Can't go to Thorpe Park and not immediately start my day with that, because you've got to make sure you do it at least once. The best day at Thorpe Park is you get it twice, or even sometimes a third time if you're really lucky and have fast passes. But you know, the best day at Thorpe Park is getting multiple rides on Saw. I have never and will never go anywhere near the maze. No thank you.
Not interested.
Don't need to go in there. No, just don't want it. Don't need it. Don't want it.
I don't need to do that to myself.
No.
I've done horror mazes before, and I'm so pleased that I had to. It's like the opposite of what you're trying to do with this film. This film, you're trying to convince yourself that stuff's real. When I did those horror mazes, it was near here where I live now in Tully's. Have you heard of Tully's? They do different themed mazes, and it's just a farm. And there's like an indoor like haunted house. There's like a crop field with like I was chased with someone with a fake chainsaw. It might have even been a real chainsaw, I don't know. But what you have to do to survive that is you convince yourself of the ridiculousness of it, and you know that you play into the fact that they're actors and stuff. You play into the fact that they're actors.
Whereas unfortunately, I convinced myself that if someone did want to attack me with a chainsaw, what they'd do is sneak in and pretend to be an actor and then actually murder me.
So you go too realism with it.
I overbluff myself.
Whereas I wish that I could be able to transfer the fears over and take the fear that I would get from being in a maze into being able to convince myself that. But I just don't like being chased. So that doesn't help. We know we can find things scary. It's just that maybe this didn't quite hit that, but what we do have is a deep respect for it was creepy. I found
elements of this unnerving.
Yes.
Yeah,
it's creepy, and also I think that's the thing about representation. Having a house of women in their 20s, like it's representation is how our brain works. We can imagine ourselves in those situations a bit more when we see people like ourselves on the screen. What we do in that situation. There was definitely a few times where I've gone, "Why have you done that? Why have you done that?" I can't remember what they are now, but they're just classics.
So massive spoilers, but the girl who goes after Piglet successfully, may I add?
Yeah, there was respect for some of this.
She took Piglet out and was like, right, now go after Pooh because he's chasing your mates. They're attacking him with fire, so he's not paying attention. You could come up behind him and take him out too and get running. But then she decided to stay and torture Piglet, and I was like, babes, no, you knocked him out. Run.
Yeah. There was a few things. I'm just seeing. I definitely wrote notes.
Was it the girl that jumped in the swimming pool? I didn't really understand
that
it.
That was it.
Yeah.
She jumped in the swimming pool, and then rather than like swim, she just like, you know, the walk
bobbed.
when you walk in water, you can't walk in water. And then right at the end,
like, can they not get in water? And then they got in the water, and I was like, you're fucked.
And then right at the end, there's a shot where she's just stood still, facing him before he bonks on the head.
Yeah.
That was a little bit dumb.
But I think all of my big issues, and we can, I mean, I don't know if this is the best place to talk about the Razzie Awards it is nominated for, but I think most of my big issues with this were actually issues that I have with a lot of horror movies.
Yeah.
So actually, they felt accurate. They felt right for the genre.
I was about to say, that being said, is not anything that you wouldn't expect to see in a low-budget /horror film. So who's to say whether they did that as a homage or as just dumbness? Because they clearly have attention to detail on other things. So who knows? Sorry, I'm still trying to see where I put my notes, but I don't know. I feel like
I mean, anything else on the plot for you? Like, I thought the plot worked. I felt... Oh, so what we haven't said, so some of the girls are killed and some of the girls are captured, and it never really explains why some are killed and some are captured. I guess maybe it's how much they were fighting back. I don't know. But what we discover then is that Christopher Robin a year ago was not murdered. He is being kept and tortured by Pooh for all of this time, and he has to watch every time Pooh kills someone.
Right, yeah.
Which I thought was interesting in a twist, and was like, oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm all right with that. And then then it was quite convenient that then he was able to help the girls escape and give them a bit of context. And then there's randomly just another girl there that wasn't there earlier and then she won't leave. That was the bit that annoyed me. So they find another girl.
She was the woman that was at... She walked into the gas station right at the beginning, yeah.
I thought that. But so there's a random girl who's nothing to do with them and nothing to do with Christopher Robin that we haven't seen being abducted. I didn't really understand why she couldn't have just been one of the girls, but anyway. And so they help rescue her, and it looks like they're doing some sort of satanic ritual on her, or planning to do some sort of like barbaric torturing on her. So the girls rescue her, and she's been really brutalised, and then as they're trying to leave, she catches sight of herself in a mirror, and then she's so disgusted by her face that she decides she can't leave and get her freedom and get to a good plastic surgeon. No, she has to
just wait for the swelling to go down.
Just get some antiseptic up in there. Yeah. No, she has to stay and take them out. And it was like, if these are the people that have been torturing you for the last 24 hours,
I think
you can't take them.
I think, that's such a good point. Like, if you couldn't do it the first time, I feel like to get that kind of motivation, fair enough if she'd watched like a friend or her partner clearly had been brutally murdered. Wasn't she with a guy in the store?
And that's, so there's the lesbian couple of the main group of girls is one dies and the other one is the one that takes Piglet out.
That
so
kind of
I thought it was
out,
ridiculous that after taking Piglet out, she kept going for Piglet. I was like, now go take Pooh Bear out. Yeah. But I did get her motivation of being like, you murdered my girlfriend. Yeah. I have an opportunity here to take some revenge. Yeah. It was just I felt she went too far with it.
But I guess that's the point of that plot, right? I understood that the character motivation made sense, even if logically watching it, you're like, because we don't know what we would do in this situation.
I'd be dead. I would be dead.
I would just be like, do you know what, guys? Don't worry, I'll do it for you because this is too scary for me.
Yeah,
I'll do you a favour.
Yeah. May we never find ourselves in these situations, which is why I struggle to watch Saw, because all I could think of watching Saw was what would I do? What would I do?
I do get freaked out when I watch Saw because they do take people off the street. So, I guess with the story, I just felt like it left a lot to be desired.
I felt at times like there was a script which was a generic girls in a holiday cabin slasher. And then the Winnie the Pooh IP became available and they smushed them together.
Well,
Now, reading about the original script, it sounds like that isn't what happened, but it basically sounds like he had to throw out his entire original script. So then I do wonder, based on the, you said he's got a number of producing and directing and I guess writing credits in the horror sphere anyway, if he had to throw out that original story, what he probably did is like, right, well, what have I seen before that works, it's good, that I know to do well, and he went, well, I know how to write a classic to take them out one at a time slasher, and he went, cool, let's embed Winnie the Pooh into that, because there was times...
I feel genuinely, I would put my money on that's what happened.
Yeah. And it felt like at times it was really well embedded, and then it felt at times like there were two separate movies that had been gelled together, so it was a shame that he maybe didn't have as much time to polish up the script more, so it felt less sandwiched.
Well, that's the thing, I just feel like... I know I love a gimmick, but I do feel like this really is just a vehicle for what if, and the what if tagline just hasn't really been developed enough. It's just, what if a beloved character was used in a way that horrified people, and there isn't really any substance behind that. But that's not to say that there wasn't originally, because as you just said, if the story had, it's almost indicative that it probably was better, because if the story was too close to stuff that it would have been a copyright issue, clearly there was enough of a story there that would have been, I mean, if it's too close to something that is a behemoth like Disney is saying this is close to our stuff, then clearly there was something there.
This isn't an original story, you're adapting our story.
Yeah. Unfortunately, what's happened is, rather than taking it back to the drawing board, which I understand why he hasn't, because I don't know at what stage these changes had to be made, and if the hype had already reached the executive decision. As a producer, you do not slow down. Like, you don't. Because even if it crashes and burns, which in some cases it could be said this has, rating-wise, the notoriety of it, you're laughing.
And that's the thing as well, that we haven't got onto ratings or anything yet, but I feel almost a little bit bad for it, because when I was doing when I was properly working as a film journalist, I was covering a lot of low-budget horrors because, they just want they want any review, even a bad review is just a good review, because low independent horrors struggle to get seen. The amount of people go to an Airbnb for the weekend and violence ensues. This is no different to any of them.
Because also it's really easy, it's much easier to get one location.
Yeah. But this was no different to any of them, which in a way is completely unoriginal, but it was also no different to any of them that it wasn't anywhere near as bad as them.
Yes.
And so I feel like,
it's like the best of the worst.
Yeah, so, in some ways it's been review bombed because of the notoriety, but then at the same time, it made a lot of money because of that. So I think they're probably happy. And as I kind of mentioned earlier, which might have been cut out, the team behind this are really proud of their Razzie nominations. They are promoting this now as the Razzie nominated film, much like you would if you were nominated for other awards. Because, again, horror as a genre has always been about the cult and the people embracing the trashiness and the silliness.
Yeah.
And so I think this is a really... I feel like we've been really positive because we can appreciate, I wanted to be a filmmaker, you are a filmmaker. This is actually a really great story for people that probably didn't expect this to happen, and even though they got terrible reviews, they're getting to go off and make a sequel with like a massive budget.
What I will say is, this is two sides of the same coin. Like we were saying earlier, like, hats off to them for reading the room, like recognize, like taking an opportunity, like seeing the public domain thing, jumping on it, going with the marketing, like really riding the wave of the hype and delivering a better low budget trashy horror. However, if they didn't have that notoriety and they didn't have the connection with Winnie the Pooh, this wouldn't have seen the light of day.
No, but it just would have been another girls in a cabin get murdered story.
Yeah.
And those don't get a 3% rotten. I know this doesn't have a 3% rotten score, but
it's like, it's not survivor bias, but it's another paradox of that ilk where it's only so lambasted because people know about it.
Yeah.
If they didn't know about it, then they wouldn't have seen it enough to know that they hate it. It's one of those ones, which we talk about a little bit, with each of the films we do, because...
And especially in our Razzie season, we've definitely spoken about
because how are these films in particular picked out? Why is it these ones that are deemed the worst? Because we know that these definitely aren't, but there are things in play such as who's voting for them, how the system works, etc. And it's always fascinating to think about the context behind these things. And I think it's fair to say that the reason it's so popular and the reason it's so hated is for the same reason. It just would have been, for me, it could even have been like a positive, like an actual positive rating, because I was so impressed with the technical aspects, and even some of the acting I didn't think was terrible. I was quite surprised.
It felt like soap acting, but there's nothing wrong with soap acting. And you know what it is an art form,
I think, is that we're British, you're British Irish, but we were watching it going, actually, this is kind of how people act. It's harder, I think, for us to watch if we were to watch an American version of this and it's trashy and it's a bit bad, it's even more cringe. It's even more like, we don't know. We don't know that. I don't know if you know that many Americans. I don't know that. I haven't lived there. Like, you don't know you kind of don't have a baseline. So you've already got that kind of layer of, this is you're comparing it to everything else you've seen. Whereas this, I'm just like, that is just a group of girls in a house and how they would talk to each other. Apart from one of the girls was like super dramatic.
Well, that's what I was just about to say. I think that's also the problem with the film, is that, and like, I'll hold my rating off, but like, maybe we'll move on to the Razzie nominations before we do our ratings. But I think like that was the best things about this film really highlighted the worst things about this film. Right. And a lot of the time, the dialogue did feel really naturalistic, and some of the acting did seem really good, and some of the scares were really great, and the practical effects I thought were brilliant. But then it meant when there was a bit of awkward dialogue, it stuck out so bad. Like the girl in the bikini that gets murdered first, where she's in her room doing her makeup in her bikini by herself. I was like, I don't see why this scene is here. It isn't needed for anything.
I think we can put that in the pile with the ripping of the t-shirt.
Yeah.
Which is just classic slasher, like,
look at
leering.
The hot girl. Yeah. She's going to die first because she's confident sexually.
I actually saw a horrific Letterboxd review where I actually blocked the person because I was so disgusted, where they basically were like, not enough skin, and basically that it was teased that, oh, what a shame that we kind of like, I'm not going to repeat the language because it's just like, it's not terrible, but it's just not okay. Where basically they were implying that they would rather have seen her topless than the other woman.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
And like how it was all teased and set up, and they were basically left like blue ball kind of thing. And I'm like,
porn has never been more available. Porn has never been more available.
That's exactly what I was about to
say. Sir, please go and watch many porn sites. There's even ethical porn now. Go watch some ethical porn, and if you really want to get your rocks off, watch some unethical porn. But sir, you don't need to watch a horror movie. It's not the 70s. You don't need to get your father's VHS copy of Slumber Party Massacre and rewind the same 2 seconds.
Because they want it to be voyeuristic. They want it to, anyway.
There's voyeuristic porn.
No, that's true. Anyway, so it's just like this is why these tropes need to like be evaluated. But at the same time, I hope that was a safe set and everyone was like looked after and stuff. So there's that. But I think, to be honest, that was my favourite character because she was the most unique and she had the best kill, I think. I
really liked the final girl, who then, spoilers, dies. I was really upset when she died. Because I was like, oh, she's obviously going to survive, and they're setting it up for a sequel, and then she didn't survive. And I was like, oh, shit,
I had a problem with the ending.
Did Christopher Robin die at the end?
Well, I'm not really sure. I'm not sure.
I thought he did, but he's going to be in the sequel.
I thought it was setting it up for her to be the final girl, and I really liked that. And then when it wasn't, I was like, oh, this is nasty. Okay, like...
Everyone's dead.
But what happened was it just kind of ended and didn't end. There was no...
Yeah.
Not even like a re-establishing shot of him walking into the woods again or something. It just...
And my flight had been called, so I was like, oh, fucking good timing, off I go.
Timing.
So I didn't think about it, but you're right, because I'm like, what happened at the end? I remember her dying, and then I was like, what happened after that? And it's because nothing happens, it pretty much does just end, and I was like, oh, go to the gate.
Yeah, so that was a bit strange, but there wasn't... That and like a few bits at the beginning and throughout kind of, you're right, because you're quite pleasantly surprised by a lot of it, those bits do stick out, but they're the kind of bits that I was expecting from a Razzie film, from a Bottom 100 film. So the fact that they were fewer and further between, I was pleasantly surprised. I'm just looking through my notes to see if there's anything else particularly I want to call out. One of the dialogue options, I was like, oh my god, not options. I've been playing too many games. One of the dialogues, just the point where she's like, oh, I just remembered I have a gun. And it's like, what do you mean you just remembered you had a gun? You only got to the house that day.
How do you, white woman in your mid-20s in England, have a gun?
Yeah. And then, so she remembers, she forgot that she had a gun. And then she remembers where she has gone, but she also can't remember where she put it.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense.
I feel like I'm anti-gun, but I feel like if I did have a gun,
I'd know where it is.
Especially in a country where guns are illegal, I'd know where. And if I'd bought it on holiday with me
and arrived that day, I think I'd know where I left it. One thing we haven't spoken about is Christopher Robin, actually, too much about the actor. I wrote a note saying that he's really going for it and I respect it, but it doesn't quite fit the tone.
I really struggled with him. It feels really awful as someone with a speech impediment, but there was something about his voice. No, he didn't have a speech impediment, but there was something about his voice that I just hated.
Fair enough.
I don't know if it was his accent. I don't know if it was a real accent. I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
But every time, maybe it was the dialogue. Every time he spoke, it felt completely unnatural.
It was a bit whiny.
I think that was also because the whole first section is him, that when you then think he's died and it brings in the girls, I was so relieved by the girls because the girls felt real and their acting felt so much more natural, that whilst I thought it was clever to bring him back, just every time he delivered dialogue, it just, please, Pooh, please don't do it. It's like, and that's not what he sounded like. But it's like when my housemate tries to do a bad English accent on me, and I'm like, I don't really sound like that. That's what he sounded like.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think we've managed to I think they did the right balance of just having him bookended. I like that they included Christopher Robin, but
to him, he has been recast for the sequel.
Oh, really? I don't know how much he'll be in it.
Yeah, but I do know it is a different actor for Christopher Robin.
Okay.
Piglet and Pooh have also been recast.
Oh no, really? That seems like a shame.
So no one's returning, but the characters of Christopher Robin, Piglet and Pooh are all returning, but all with different actors.
Oh, okay. A few other things. We've already spoken about practical effects, but I was really floored by how realistic the skeletons looked.
And the kill that I loved was when he shoved the knife through her mouth.
Oh, that was good. That was good. I think I still prefer the car over the head, though.
Oh yeah, that was a bit much.
That was pretty hardcore. So I spoke quite a lot about the fact that I think they had an eye for visuals. They had a bit of a visual flair, like they know how to frame, how to light, and how to move the camera. Because if you're thinking about the other films we've had to watch over the last few weeks, this was one of the last ones.
It looked dark at times, but it didn't look like mud. It looked like a dark night.
Exactly. I said the kills are creative. Just going through the last positives before I do some negatives. All really tangible apart from some digital blood at the beginning. And the bees were digital, but I think they were like, it was nice.
So digital, I didn't see them.
See them. They were in a couple of shots. I think considering we know their budget, it's and
I was also watching on quite a small tablet at the airport, so
yeah.
Probably
that's
not
true.
as
That's
intended.
True. I wrote down Pooh with the karate chop action.
Right, yeah. His magical hand, but I sort of loved it.
It did come out of nowhere, though. I feel like it should have been used throughout the whole thing. It did seem like he started slapping bitches up.
It was... We saw him use his hand earlier in the film.
Oh, really? I don't remember that.
But, because I remember being like, why is he being weird with his hand? And I didn't think of it. And then and the big final showdown where he starts going mental with his hand, I was like, oh.
But, do you know what would have been great? If it was a paw.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Maybe
it would have been better as a paw.
Kind of imply a
Yeah.
little bit.
I would have liked a paw there, but I did like it. And again, in some of my research, I saw that the director and writer Frake-Waterfield had said that where they knew that they didn't have the money for the effects and the costuming, they decided to go all out with the like Michael Myers Halloween kind of vibe.
Well,
so they wanted him to look silent and deadly, and he said he did not like the new Halloween sequels, but because he didn't see enough Michael Myers in them. But it did feel very reminiscent of the scene in Halloween Kills where they were all in the street beating the shit out of him. But this time it was twisted because Winnie the Pooh was like, "Fuck you, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you."
I was going to save this for the end of the episode, but as you've mentioned him, I wrote, if Michael Myers was a chubby little cubby all stuffed with fluff.
And that was some of the inspo, so you got it. You saw the vision.
That should be their tagline. Just going on to some of the, I mean, we're just kind of repeating a little bit, but just in summary, some of the negative side of things, the concept did just feel a little bit too cheap and silly. It didn't kind of feel, like you say, connected to the rest of the story, which is a shame, because it's just, even thinking about a through line that some of the people of Letterboxd have written, things about just a theme, like a theme of being abandoned, or there was something there, I just don't think it really came across too much. I love the thing that you said about, like, because it can be campy too. It can be like, don't feed wild animals because this is what will fucking happen.
It's
like,
bad.
I really like that. It doesn't have anything to do with the original story.
I keep seeing videos of people feeding bears, and I'm like, one day those bears are going to murder you. And it's adorable that they come and they chill out in your swimming pool. That's adorable. But that is not what bears are meant to be doing.
Yeah.
I do really want to hug a bear, though.
I said, oh my God, swim. She was just standing there waiting for him. We've already covered that. They were explaining what they were doing. So these little moments where it just, it falls into the territory which we were expecting, where for the most of it, it was a little bit above that. And I said, they do try and play it a bit straight. Maybe it could have worked a little bit better with the actual, with the characters, the killers, as being a bit more campy, like a bit more like the Grinch, kind of creepy, rather than but I get the silent, a lot of this stuff can be explained away with the budget, right? There was a moment where just before he kills the 4 guys at the end, where he turns around and he looks like a giant. They've like proper scaled the camera to make him look gigantic. And then again, we've mentioned already, but the fact that it doesn't have a conclusion. But I think, you know what? All of my problems with it, considering the context, is like fair,
They're nitpicking.
Yeah.
In the nicest way. Like, and that's... shall we get back off this sidetrack and get back onto our road to Razzies quickly for a little bit?
For the last time for the year.
Yeah. So, as I said at the top, it's nominated for Worst Picture, Worst Director, Worst Screen Couple, Worst Prequel, Remake, Rip-Off or Sequel, and Worst Screenplay. I mean, straight up off the bat for me, I think I can see why it was nominated for the majority. I do not think Worst Director is deserved at all. There's some issues, but I don't really think any of them are for Director. Worst Screen Couple, I get what you mean now, that they're not super together. I also just think that was just trying to throw someone in the category there and trying to get it another thing.
I agree.
I do get the Worst Prequel, Remake, Rip-Off or Sequel.
Yes.
I wouldn't probably nominate it, but this is a weird category anyway. We've had a lot of problems with this category this year. It's an odd category, but I can completely understand why it's there. Worst picture, I don't agree with. I mean, again, we've put this into context a lot. We have a lot of time when given the context. I saw worse films this year with a lot more money and talent and things behind them. This wouldn't have been in my bottom 5 of worst films last year.
No.
It's not a great film. I don't even know if I'd give it 3 stars. But worst picture, absolutely not. It is a low-budget horror film, and it fucking achieves what it sets out to achieve.
Yeah, we've said it before, like, you can't... These are different leagues. Like, a performance from, this kind of, like, TV, if you're thinking about in sports sort of analogy, is, when they're competing with who else is in their not wheelhouse, but like their peer group, that's when we say, oh, we're really pleasantly surprised.
Even when we put it up against the other Razzie nominees, this to me would be up with Confidential Informant, Mercy.
Yes.
I think there was another one that was quite low budget.
Do you know what? That's exactly where I put it, because there's promise there. There's stuff that got me. It's a shame. It's almost as if, like, if you took elements from all of them, what they did
and
well.
Confidential Informant, I think, is slightly a better film than this, but it has just as many flaws, just in different places.
Yes, yeah.
And then the last nomination was for Worst Screenplay. I do have to say, I can kind of see where this one's coming from. We've said we have issues with the story and the embedding of the story. I kind of have to give it that one. I feel like that maybe was a little bit warranted.
Yeah.
The screenplay needs work.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's because the mistakes in the screenplay are glaring, because it does have so much promise.
Yeah, I agree across the board. I think, we've already discussed quite a lot of the context of all of the categories. I think the fact, the problems we have with it can be linked to the categories that we've just discussed there. So the screenplay and the adaptation side of things. Direction wasn't an issue. Direction was the thing I was really impressed with, for its stature. And when you when you think of the sum of its parts and you put it into the context, I don't think it's fair to say worst picture. I think it's easy to say worst picture. 100% easy to go, this is the work, because it's just the preconceived bias of it all. But when you spent the time, like what we've done, and watched everything and given it all a good go, this wasn't even as bad as some of the other Razzie films that we saw. No, by any means.
And to skip ahead, because I've just been making you skip all over the place in this episode, I guess then in our kind of regular episodes, we talk about does it deserve, I know we've not done our ratings, but we do say does it deserve to be on the bottom 100, and that feels like a great place to follow it up with here. We said it doesn't deserve Worst Picture at the Razzies for 2023. Does it deserve to be on the bottom 100 films of all time? Personally, I'm happy to go first.
Yeah, go on.
I don't think so. I've seen far worse, both in big league films and independent films. I've seen worse independent horrors. I've seen worse independent horrors about a group of girls than Airbnb. There was enough good about this. I'd struggle to recommend it to anyone, but I do not think it needs to be condemned into this is one of the worst things that's ever been made. You're right. Kept me engaged enough, and like I say, I would be somewhat intrigued to see the sequel.
Yeah, I think what I was struggling with, it feels like a different kind of film to evaluate that question.
Yeah.
It's I feel like this is quite a unique film for us to be doing for the bottom 100. We're used to this kind of like low budget stuff for Razzies, but usually the low budget stuff doesn't get into the bottom 100 because not enough people have seen it. So at first I was a bit like, yes, because if you're comparing it to like the better made and produced films that are on there, but
they don't deserve to be on there either.
Well, this is it. We've just discussed the context of things where it's like you've got to judge it as what it is, and it's 100 in the whole world, every film ever made, just 100 of the worst. No way. It's hard because we probably will never see like all of the very worst, thank God. There's always going to be this element of popularity to it, but I think it's fair to say I can't remember, I think we're in our sort of like late 20s into potentially going into 30s of films that we've watched on the bottom 100 now. We've given a fair amount, I think, to ones to stay there. I think although we've evaluated everything, I don't think we've instantly kind of given everything a pass.
So as a quick one, I think I know your answer. If you had to pick a film from the Razzies 2023 or 2024, whatever way we're calling it, this year to take its place in the bottom 100, I think I know what you would pick.
Well, my initial thought would be Magic Mike.
I thought you were going to say Exorcist Believer, because you really fucking hated Exorcist Believer.
No, I hadn't finished. I would say Magic Mike, but I know that's a personal thing. It's a personal slight.
Yeah.
Genuinely, objectively, Exorcist Believer, 100%.
For me, we all know it's Fast X. That didn't constitute a film. Show me a film that doesn't have a coherent screenplay or plot. I give you Fast X.
Family. So should we do some ratings then?
Oh, I had something I completely forgot.
What?
I've kept mentioning the sequel.
Oh yeah.
So there is a sequel coming, but there is also now, because everything's a franchise, there is an extended universe happening from the same director.
I think franchises should be banned.
He's also doing an adaptation of Bambi, of Peter Pan, and of Pinocchio, which are all now in the public domain. And Pinocchio is going to show up in the post-credit scene of the Winnie the Pooh sequel, because they will be having a terrifying childhood fantasy extended universe. I don't know what the official title is going to be, because that's a mouthful.
I'll be really intrigued to see how they do Pinocchio, because are they just going to have a person?
Pinocchio's the easiest one.
What, because they're going to have a puppet, or they're going to have a person?
Pinocchio's creepy as fuck.
Yeah, but how are they actually going to physically do it?
Oh, sorry, will Pinocchio be a puppet or Pinocchio be a man?
Yeah. Having a puppet's going to be too expensive, surely. He should be a boy, and it should be after he got made into a real boy. He's like some grotesque deformity, half puppet, half boy. Yeah. If they can pull it off practical effect-wise, yeah, otherwise it might be a bit of a cop-out.
I think Bambi will be the hardest.
Yeah, I just feel like if it's a bit too ambitious, there's a long way to fall, isn't there? One thing we didn't mention that I did find in my research is that I don't know if you noticed much about the music. I'm terrible at picking up on music in films, but I don't know if you noticed it or liked it or disliked it. But
it felt a bit generic horror movie music to me.
However, how it was created was far from generic. Oh. Apparently, there was a YouTube. I've only copied and pasted a section, so I'm assuming it's the composer Bell. I will look this up. Their last name is Bell. They uploaded a video to YouTube titled Winnie the Pooh, Blood, Honey and Violins. Basically, they went from LA to San Francisco to collect a honeycombed violin from an experimental luthier, is that how it's pronounced, to compose the film's soundtrack.
Oh, I like that.
That's a nice little thing, right?
Like, it does seem like this film, despite what people think and despite how it may look, it does look like they put a lot of care into it.
Yes. I think so.
I think everyone should have to do a minimum of 20 minutes research after they watch a movie before they decide if it was shit or not.
Andrew Scott Bell did the music. Good for him. Yes, I agree. I think, if we think about what this film could have been like if they didn't care, I feel like there's a big disparity. But yeah, I just thought that was a nice little thing. But we can go on to let's save so you can tell we haven't done our proper episode in ages because we can't even remember how we do things. Let's do some of the sort of reception of everything, and then we can head to our ratings. Just because I've got it in front of me and I've remembered that we haven't talked about it. The budget for this film was $100K.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I've lost it now. Yeah, 100. Well, it says dollars, so I don't. Site sources, Wikipedia. In 10 days, they filmed it, and it made $5 million worldwide. Cha-ching! I'm going to work out what percentage profit that is. 999,999,998. What? 5 million minus 100,000. Right. 100,000 divided by 4,900. How could I not have worked that out in my head, Daisy? Come on. It made 20 times its budget. Oh my god, I could have worked that in my head. Why didn't I use my calculator?
It was 510. Yeah, we could. Okay.
We relied too much on the machines. I'm surprised I didn't ask ChatGPT to work it out for me. Have you seen the audience score on Rotten Tomatoes?
I had, and I have already forgotten it.
50%.
Cool. Okay, so I like bits of this film. I respect the filmmakers. But, like, is that what the Flintstones need? Do we need to make the Flintstones a horror movie to get some damn respect on it? Because I'll recut it. I can recut the Flintstones into a horror movie. You give me the right music. You give me a few minutes to learn how to do fake paint on final effect, fake blood on final effects. We can make the Flintstones a horror movie. It's already got a fairly horrific ending. Like, what do we need, guys? What do I need to do to get some respect on John Goodman's name?
I feel like we're at the point now where we could really declare that this is actually a Flintstones podcast and the rest is just a front. But yeah, that's pretty harsh. That's like double the audience score for Flintstones. However, what I can say is only got a 3% for critics, which we know isn't zero, and we have had to watch a zero recently. The consensus from the critics is, oh, bother. And
which I do enjoy. Lots of puns when the reviews came out for this. A lot of puns.
And the audience consensus, which they apparently have now, because I think it's AI generated. Winnie the Pooh has its moments, but they aren't enough to make up for the weak plot, uneven acting, and general lack of real horror or humour. And I don't agree with all of that.
Some of that, yes. Some of that, no.
It's got a 19 on Metacritic, which isn't the worst. I've got a mix of highs and lows. So, score of 58 from Christian Zilko IndieWire. Blood and Honey feels like a throwback to a simpler era of filmmaking, not an era where movies were better because it's not particularly good, but a time when a film could be produced, marketed, and turn a profit just by promising audiences an image they hadn't seen before.
I think that sums up really well what we've been trying to get at.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just make films that are interesting to watch and move on.
Yeah. Be imaginative, be innovative, be passionate, go out and get stuff done, and don't be such a money-grabbing son of a bitch. That's to all the studio execs. Except I'm retiring the phrase son of a bitch. Not that I ever really say it that much, but we're going for non-gendered insults from now on.
Oh, intriguing.
You can be an arsehole, whatever gender you are.
I always found arsehole to be very masculine, and I don't know why.
I think
there's not very many male gendered insults, whereas there's a lot of female gendered insults.
I wonder why that is. So I've started calling women arseholes.
Well, so I think I've decided that anything that isn't female gendered is just automatically male gendered.
Ah, there we go.
Yeah.
When you learn French in school, that is the rule. We digress. A 25 from Johnny Aleksinski, a New York Post. There are some surprisingly attractive shots in the low-budget film. The honey drips being something he called out. The acting is committed, even if the dialogue is lousy to inaudible, which I can't really argue with. Yet it's impossible to recommend to the average horror fan in search of a good movie. I think it's kind of more in line with what we were saying.
When we get to my rating, that sums up how I feel.
Yeah.
I so many things I enjoyed, so many things I didn't enjoy, and I often base my ratings on how much I'd recommend it to someone else, and I would struggle here.
I think this is a classic film of like, this is the reason why we're able to have a podcast, because we are watching it for a lot of people so they can just listen to us talk about it. So we thank you, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey cast and crew, for keeping us in business. A 10 from Dennis Harvey at Variety, saying it's bad enough the film doesn't have the smarts to actually Satirize, there we go. It's inspirational source, but bizarrely it doesn't really send up slasher tropes either, while lacking the skill set this isn't a real sentence, skill set to play them seriously, to take them seriously. And I don't think that's quite right, because I think although we've sort of said, okay, it doesn't quite hit that use of the source material, that it's a shame that I think we'll never really know what the original was.
And I think, that wasn't at the intention of the writer. I think they would have loved to have been able to satirise it more.
And I think, if anything, we were saying that it does touch on a lot of tropes.
Yeah.
And skill set wise, I think they actually did prove that they have a skill set in this space.
Yeah.
A solid 0 from Ross. I want to say Bonhomme, but it might be more French than that. From Collider, what could have been a halfway decent dumb idea becomes a full-on nightmare of bad choices and terrible filmmaking, which I just think is just absolutely not true. But that being said, film journalists, you have to watch a hell of a lot of films, and if you're watching studio stuff and then you're watching this, it is in comparison not going to.
And there has been a well-noted issue within film journalism for big companies like Empire, Collider, these kind of places, when it comes to horror movies, because they are not always being watched by actual fans of the genre.
It's all about the context. Have you got any that you want to share before we go to Letterboxd and such?
I was packing my life into boxes and did not do all of my homework.
That's why I did it. It has got a 1.1 on Letterboxd, which is very low for Letterboxd, I think. Few ones I pulled out. Anton Patel. There really is a good film to be made about the dark scars of angst, guilt and trauma that the abandonment of a childhood plaything can carve into arrested adulthood. You're better off finding elsewhere more than this poorly concocted, psychologically tepid porridge. It is a case of Pooh by name, Pooh by nature.
Beautiful.
It was beautiful, that ending. And I definitely get the point. I think we've said it's just a shame there's no theming coming through with that.
Yeah.
And then from Matt, ! One of the absolute worst pieces of irredeemable garbage I have ever seen. Just terribly, abysmally, horrifically, offensively bad. I'm so happy it exists. Thank you to everyone involved. Welcome to the public domain, motherfuckers.
Had me at the first part.
Had me at the first part for sure. So yeah, it was very much just, oh god, it's obviously a lot of people repeating the kind of things we've spoken about, but those I felt deserved a little bit of a spotlight. You've already spoken about the sequel, so I won't go on to that. Although, did you know that Pooh will use a chainsaw as a weapon in the sequel?
Yes, because they couldn't afford the effects to have him use it in this one.
Right. Fair enough.
So now that the budget's been 10 times increased, they will be able to use chainsaws.
And the only other thing I've got in terms of the future of the franchise that you haven't already covered is that Frake-Waterfield has also expressed interest in making films about Thor, as well as copyrighted franchise such as the Teletubbies, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and the Powerpuff Girls.
Leave the Turtles alone. Teletubbies are fucking terrifying, so I'd be there because I think Teletubbies are fucked up. And Powerpuff Girls, could it be any worse than that weird CW reboot they tried to do?
Did that even get released?
It got binned, and then the script got leaked online, and it looked so bad.
All I'll say is the costumes looked exactly the same as my Halloween costume as Blossom.
Now, the only thing was people involved in it were the people that were involved in Jennifer's Body. So maybe it would have had promise.
Not the writer, though. You just said the writer.
I think so.
Really? But Diablo Cody's like heralded.
I think Diablo Cody wrote the script.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, created by Diablo Cody and Heather V. Regnier.
Oh.
So that was, and one of the actors has kind of said, like, it wasn't what people thought it was going to be. And that it was a shame, but she's not legally allowed to talk about it. But it wasn't what people thought it was going to be, was not. And I love Diablo Cody, so I was willing to give it a go, but it did look bad, and the script was also bad.
Oh dear. So
but you don't know, when reading a script, you don't know how it was going to be delivered or filmed.
No, true.
I can imagine the Scott Pilgrim script would be one of the worst scripts to read ever, but God, I love watching that movie.
Yeah. So who knows what should be coming down Another Park in Future from Frake-Waterfield beyond the WTPB&HCU. Right. What's your rating then? I'm curious.
I'm torn between 2 and 2.5. I can't give it 3 because objectively it isn't a particularly good movie. And I've given lesser films 2.5. I think I'm going to go 2.5 because 2, I think it is a 2, but having done the research, seen how it was made, learnt about things, I think it deserves that extra 0.5. I can't give it a 3 because I've looked at other films that I've given 3 to.
Yeah.
And it doesn't fit with them. But I think it's a 2.5 for films and all. But if you've watched a lot of low budget indie horror, it felt like on the upper half of them for me.
I feel like with my new reevaluated rating system, down the middle, you've got 5 options either side, right? So realistically, even if I'm going, oh, this means I liked it, this means it's good or it's great or it's bad or whatever. If I'm watching something, even if I like it, if I physically cannot say positively, this objectively is a good film, I cannot give it a positive rating. And I think, unfortunately, even with the context, I can't say that this is a good, a positively good film. However, given the context, it's not, I won't be rating it as badly if this was a studio release. Given the context of the kind of film it is, the budget, the it's kind of like when we were talking about Confidential Informant, that promise, that thing there that really elevates it. There's a few things here that really elevate it. So I was dancing between 2 and 2.5, and I think I was always going to base it off the back of our discussion, and I think our discussion has been largely positive. It's just that there's a few things that make it fall down. A few things that are budgetary that can't be helped, but they should be taken into context. And the other things that's just, unfortunately, even if there are reasons behind it, it doesn't make for a good watch. So I think I'll probably go 2.5.
Look at us agreeing.
Because I didn't dislike it. But I didn't like it either. I couldn't say I liked that film. And I was, 3 for me is I kind of liked it. It kind of worked, but it wasn't good enough to kind of get a good. But I just think it's it can't be, it's not in that league. It's the upper of the bottom league rather than the bottom of the top league. So yeah, I'll probably go 2.5, which, it's really is a lot higher than a lot of other people's ratings. So that is actually very complimentary from us.
Yeah. No, definitely higher than I thought I'd go, higher than I thought you'd go. And yeah. I wouldn't say I was pleasantly surprised, but I was pleasantly not angered.
Yeah. Yeah, because, I'll be completely honest with you. If we're going decimal points, it would be between 2 and 2.5, so it'd be 2.25. But I just feel like after having the conversation with you about it all, 2 seems too...
mean. For me, I feel.
Mean-natured. But it isn't. It is a pot of... I don't know, it's always difficult when there's elements that really elevate it than other elements that bring it down. And I think because there is that split, I can't in good faith kind of say I disliked it. So it would need to go, realistically, enjoyment-wise, it would be higher, but because of technicality-wise, it's low. I'm going to stick with the 2.5.
Ratings are a made-up concept, Daisy.
I know, but what else do we have?
You're working yourself up so much, I love it.
What else do we have to save us from this burning capitalistic hell?
We do have some good movies. Do you want to go on to our top 3s?
Oh my god, this is going to be...
So we decided...
this is probably going to be my worst top 3 ever.
We decided to do our top 3... bear movies, or potentially top 3 bears in movies, because not necessarily, I don't think maybe only one of my films is actually a movie about a bear, but they are all films with bears in.
Yes,
so I've gone more.
That's what
I've gone less good film and more interesting bear character.
Right.
Have I? I don't know. I'm talking in circles. We're just doing movies that have bears in.
Yeah.
Do it as you wish. Daisy, you said you struggled, so would you like to go first?
I just struggled to seem intellectual. I struggled to seem cultured. All of my options are animated.
So I pushed myself. I was like,
no, that's what I mean. I have tried to push myself.
I've only got 2 Disney movies on the list. So I limited myself.
I tried to push myself. I've tried to consider the bear itself. I've tried to consider the film itself. So I think I'm just going to go for a variety here. The first one I'm going to pick is actually probably my favourite option, and I feel like it's the most deserving. It's the most appropriate for is Over the Hedge.
Oh,
have you seen Over the Hedge?
Where I saw you're going. No, you've asked me to watch it a number of times, as has our friend Alex. I've seen bits of it, never interested me. It was past my time.
Yeah, I suppose there's probably a little bit of nostalgia to it.
Yeah.
There's probably a lot of
Who's
nostalgia
the bear in
to
it?
it.
I remember there being a squirrel.
The bear is the one of the central villains, because the villain is humanity. But he helps with the inciting incident. So our raccoon, who I can't actually remember what he's called, he's voiced by Bruce Willis. Nice. He's a cocky little fella, and he basically, as raccoons do, eats just out of dumpsters and stuff.
Trash
pandas. But he can't get enough and decides that he can't get something out of a vending machine, but he sees that this bear, who is quite frightening for a kid's film, and he's got like a low drawling voice, and he's probably voiced by someone quite famous. Just looking it up right now. But he basically, it's like a funny nod to the fact that bears hibernate for winter and then they like store all their food, but it's all like human crap.
Nice.
So it's all like Pringles and all of this stuff.
Yeah, and I've definitely seen bits of this film.
And the raccoon really wants a specific brand of crisps, specific flavour, so he steals it, and then there's the whole classic, charade, like escapades of how it all gets lost. So now he owes everything that the bear had in his cave. So that's why he gets the animals to steal all the food. And then the bear comes back, to get the food at the end. So I feel like that is a good combination between a film I really like, a film I could recommend, and the bear is relevant.
Yeah, no, I like it. Okay, I'm going to go next. I'm going to go for Toy Story 3 for Lotso the Hugging Strawberry Bear. Because much like Winnie the Pooh, he is a villainous bear who has been abandoned. And he is a bear that was once sweet and innocent and was abandoned by humans and has had to turn to the various ways to survive. So yeah, the worst thing about Lotso for me is that I bought a Lotso and then left my bag on a train and it was stolen, and so I lost my Lotso within 24 hours of buying him.
Oh no, and I bet that wasn't cheap.
It was traumatic for Lotso himself. I'm sure he was living out the tale of the movie.
God, yeah, that's true.
I went out and bought another Lotso almost immediately afterwards. So I lived the movie. But yeah, Toy Story 3. It's a fucking great film. Don't really need to say much. And Lotso's fucking brilliant. Yeah, really great villain.
That's a really good shout for the bear, actually. This is when it gets difficult. Okay, for variety, I'm going to go with Ted.
I wondered if someone was going to pick Ted.
Because, listen, it gets a bit of flack. It's kind of aged as Seth MacFarlane stuff ages.
Hey, The Orville is an amazing show.
You love The Orville. I know you love it. I still need to watch The Orville. But actually, for like a mid-2010s, bring back the mid-budget comedy. For a mid-2010s film that stars notorious racist Mark Wahlberg and now abysmal rapist apologist Mila Kunis.
Jesus.
We could do another version of that if you want to.
I'd never. Yeah. Because I was like, why haven't I rewatched Ted in so many years? I'm like, oh, there we go.
Yeah, context. That aside, it's quite a nice mid-budget raunch comedy, and it's a fun idea. It's a fun idea thinking about if a boy's favourite bear who he believed to be real, he wished that he was real, and then what would happen if they grew up? What would happen if a deadbeat guy had a best friend as a bear and he became a deadbeat bear? I'm
loving that so far all of our things are about the theme of abandoning bears.
Oh, yeah.
And humans fucking up bears in some form.
There's always, we've got to look for these red threads running through. It was always funny at the time with the thunder song and the fact that he was high and he was like, how is he fucking winning? I don't understand. So yeah, I think there's a place for Ted.
Well, recently there's been a prequel series. I don't know if it ever aired in the UK, but it's definitely
really good.
Yeah, it's got really good reviews in the US. I do think it is available in the UK, but I'm not sure.
I think
on
it's
streaming.
On one of the other ones.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Probably Now or something like that. But yeah, meant to be really good. Yeah. So it's relevant again. Look at you, zeitgeist.
There we go. Always tapped into the culture.
Yeah. Okay. This is a dicey one, but I'm going for it. Midsummer.
Oh, I knew you were going to do this one. It's on my list as well.
The bear's not real, but the bear is so vital. That bear costume is iconic. Yeah. Became one of the best costumes of, Halloween. Yeah. Haven't we all wanted to sew our dickhead ex-boyfriend into a bear suit and set him on fire? I know I have. What great use of a bear. Maybe we don't kill animals, but, I'm not vegetarian anymore, so I'm part of that problem too.
You don't eat bears, though.
No, I don't eat bears. But yeah, cults, bitches killing people, fuck men.
Having a good old cry.
Old cry. Love a good cry circle. Love a good kind of floral hippy-dippy dress. I say it every time a cult comes up. I would have fallen prey to so many cults. Don't know how I haven't at this point. Midsummer. I feel like we've discussed it a number of times on the pod.
We have. That is why I decided not to pick it this time. I don't know if you've picked it before, but I knew that I had for something.
Bears are limited.
Bears are limited, but I'm glad that we kind of, without pre-discussing, we've got a good variety.
Yeah.
Because Midsummer was on my list.
Well, that's why I wanted to let you go first, in case.
So this is controversial just because I have only seen it once, but I've seen it recently. And everybody bloody loves it, and they were right. It's Paddington.
Oh, I was going to go for Paddington 2, but I will change my choice. So are you going for Paddington 1?
I've only seen Paddington 1.
Oh, babes, you have no idea. So I don't even like Paddington 1 that much. I think Paddington is a okay, whatever film. It's like a family wrap. Paddington 2 broke my soul.
Okay.
I was so angry. I didn't like Paddington. After everyone went on about how great it was, I was like, I don't get what you all see in this. And then I gave Paddington 2 a go, and I was like, it was like Galaxy with that brain explosion gif. I was like, I understand the world now. Right. So I'm really glad that you liked Paddington, and I'll let you discuss why you did it now. But also, get yourself to Paddington 2.
Okay. Well, I've heard that they're both incredibly good. I've always had them recommended, but instead I'm watching such drivel as Johnny and Clyde, and honestly, now I live with my partner, I'm now having to face really introspect with my habits. Most people, when they move in with their loved ones, they have to think about how messy they are. They've never realised how they're a bit gross sometimes. Yeah. I've now had to realise how I watch such shit all the time. I don't know how he copes. The only way to remedy it is by watching multiple episodes of Sopranos afterwards.
Nice. Great.
However, I digress. I eventually got round to watching Paddington because his mum found out that I hadn't watched it, and over Christmas she was like, we have to watch it, and of course it was on over Christmas. So what happened is that she called me into the conservatory, and she was just like, Paddington on, we should watch it. We sat down, and my partner's nephew, Cody's 3, and he did not like the fact that me and his grandma were sitting down to watch a film together. He was like, hello, attention, and Lynn was very much like, Daisy is watching Paddington. You need to respect that Daisy is watching Paddington. So much so that she said, Daisy, you enjoy this. I'll take Cody out. And then she just left me. Like, Stephen was off doing something with the rest of his family. I literally, was in this, secluded, protected environment at my in-laws as I watched Paddington. I think I ended up having to watch the end another day, but I just loved the sanctity of the environment that was set up for me to watch this film. And it was just, and the reason it came to be is because I went to see Wonka, and I loved Wonka, and I'd never watched any of, what's his name?
Was such a little romp.
What's the Paul King?
Yes.
And they were like, oh, I knew it would be because of Paddington. And I was like, oh, okay, fine. And yeah, I was watching, I was like, this is the same British kind of I recognise that person, but not even just that. It's just that coziness of, we've talked about coziness on the show so many times, where it's nostalgia, or the kind of autumnal American stuff. But this is British comfort. It's a separate kind of thing.
And I think that is why I perhaps didn't enjoy the first one, because though I am English British, my parents and all of my extended family are Irish, and as a child, I had it drilled into me that we were not English.
And also, yes,
Irish.
I do have to. I should actually say it's English. It's
very
London.
And it's very middle class English.
Yes.
And so
it's
I
very
think
tea
I
with the
struggled.
Queen, kind of.
Yes, which is very much how I was brought up, very anti that kind of behaviour. So I think I struggled a little bit with the first one. Yeah. Whereas the second one is more hijinks.
Oh, okay.
And
Hugh Grant being
Hugh Grant just being ultra hijinks.
Brilliant. I'm signed up for that. Yeah, it was just I don't know. I think it's just nice to watch a film where it's, I don't know, just there's a bit of magic in it. There's a bit of magic with the writing and the comfort of it all, and just the way that it's all it's weird. It's these idiosyncratic worlds that feel really familiar, but they've got magic in them, and they're not these quantum realms, and they're not, whatever made up places. They feel real, but there's something magical about them. And I think that's what makes you feel that way.
And it's kind of funny because it's the complete inverse, because Ant-Man Quantumania is taking real people and putting them in a false environment, whereas this is taking a false person and putting them in a real environment.
Yes, and although he's CGI, it does tap into my love of puppets and non-human cute things interacting with humans in human ways. So
perfect. Nice.
I would quite like to see a puppet version, actually, though.
Yeah,
a little Jim Henson moment, maybe.
Yeah. Okay, so that was your last pick. I was going to go Paddington 2 for my last pick because I was aware you hadn't seen them, but now you've seen one of them. So, because as you started speaking, I was like, oh, damn it, she watched them. So I'm actually going off list and going for one that I just thought of, which I'm annoyed I didn't think of before. Return of the Jedi. The Ewoks.
Oh, yeah. Who said they had to be real bears?
The best little bears. Fucking rebellion bears. Just Viva la Resistance.
Yeah.
They're cute. They have family values. They throw a great fucking party.
They live on the moon.
But they are not afraid to overthrow a shitty government. We should all be more Ewok. And also I subscribe to the How I Met Your Mother theory about there's two types of girls. There's teddy bear girls and non-teddy bear girls, and it all depends on whether they saw Return of the Jedi as a child.
So people that had seen it do like teddy bears?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So they had this thing that one of them dates a girl and she's like, oh, I don't really like bears. I'm not into teddy bears. And he was like, huh? And then he was like, she's never seen Star Wars.
Right. Now I'm starting to be like, I mean, I know it's all connected, my puppet thing, but I'm like, was there a pivotal moment in my childhood where I watched certain things?
I think it's because we grew up with so much puppetry that it's now just vanished, that we miss it, because that was
we were
such
the cusp of because my favourite TV shows were like Tots TV, Rosie and Jim.
Yeah.
Like, we were on the cusp because I saw it happen in real time with my younger brothers, because there's the smallest age gap is 7 years, the biggest age gap is 10. And like, I saw some great glow ups. Shout out for Make Way for Noddy, or whatever the version of Noddy was singing. Like, I love the original, don't get me wrong.
But Make Way for Noddy also a banger.
Noddy.
Channel 5. I won't lie. Beep, beep. I was a teenager. I was getting ready in my room. And was I putting on Make Way for Noddy on Milkshake while I got ready for secondary school?
Milkshake.
Of course I was.
Also, the Hoobs. Do you remember the Hoobs?
I don't know them.
Oh, they were also Milkshake.
They're outside of my time.
They were also Milkshake. So, can't remember why I'm talking about this, but...
Just you were sad about puppets, and I was talking about Ewoks.
Yeah, I'm obviously a teddy bear girl.
Yeah. And just, Ewoks are fucking great. Vive la Resistance, the Ewoks.
Oh, have you got any
I've got lots of honorary mentions.
I've got 2. I did have 3 because Midsummer was one, but the 2 that I had were actually Winnie the Pooh related.
Ah, nice.
So I was like, do I do that, or do I just do that as an aside? So my first one, I'll do the one that I care a little bit less about, is I really liked the Christopher Robin film.
I remember really liking it at the cinema, but I've never had any interest in rewatching it, but I would like to go back and rewatch it, because I remember really enjoying it.
Because talking about puppets, I'm back again. I just found the characterization of Winnie the Pooh in that hilarious.
Little old bears.
He was like, the way he was climbing over stuff and being like, he was just the clumsiest. I just saw so much of myself in him. He was just clumsy and like dopey and said funny things, and I was the only one in my screening like cackling away. So I definitely want to rewatch that. And the other one is actually a nostalgia trip to the extreme, which is the Tigger movie.
Oh, I do love a bit of Tigger.
When he finds his long lost family. Obviously, the bear is less important in that one because it's Tigger's movie, but out of all of the Winnie the Pooh Disney stuff,
that's
the Tigger movie is the one that I watched and loved.
It was the big one. It was the one that was like big cinema release and stuff. Though I do like, there was like one in like 2010, I think, which is actually really sweet as well.
Yes, I watched that when I did my full Disney watch, and I was pleasantly surprised by that.
Yeah. So mine were, I did 2 that was mentioned. My Disney one was not going to be The Jungle Book, which I contemplated, but I thought, a bit obvious. Robin Hood. Friar Tuck. Love a bit of Robin Hood.
Yeah. Same. Isn't it the same?
It's the same animation. Yeah. Really wanted to rewatch it the other day, so I might download that for the plane tomorrow. Actually, because I watched Sonic 2 on the way here. I'll watch Robin Hood on the way home.
They talk some bears and foxes.
Yeah.
Are you a furry?
Look, all of us that grew up in the 90s have the gene in us that could switch at any point.
I mean, how much have I spoken about puppets?
We're all just one weird night out away from becoming furries.
Please let that be the full quote for the episode.
Another one I was contemplating was Cocaine Bear, because I had great fun watching that at the cinema, but I've not rewatched it since, and I probably think it wouldn't hold up as good on a rewatch, but I just enjoyed watching it at the cinema, and I didn't think it deserved as much hate as it got. I thought it was a really fun time at the cinema.
It just had a fun concept, and it kept the fun in the concept, I think, is what...
Yeah. And then my other one, but it was too close to Midsummer, was The Shining, because Man in the Bear Suit. Iconic scene of cinema, the man giving the Dalmatian a blowjob or vice versa.
Except I always think of the 30 Seconds to Mars.
Which is why but that's why when I texted you earlier, I was like, I've got 2 question marks because I need to figure out if they're bears or not. I was like, is he a bear or is he a dog? Both. There's a bear and a dog.
Yeah.
So yeah, they were mine.
Oh, there we go. So that's it, isn't it? That's our Winnie the Pooh Blood and the Honey episode. So tell us. But we can be going back to being a bit more interactive now. Of course, we'd love to always hear what your thoughts are on the Razzies, and we've definitely had some people get in touch to tell us that they're really excited for the Razzie episodes, which hopefully should be out now at the time of hearing this. But moving back onto the bottom 100, have you seen Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey? And does it deserve a place on the bottom 100? Will you be joining us for the sequel as it inevitably gets onto the bottom 100? Give us a shout. Find us on Twitter and Instagram at WRatedPod and on Letterboxd at WRated. Claire, where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram and on Twitter at Clare Ellen Hope, Claire without the I.
Anything to plug? Anything to shout about?
No. You can probably follow me on Instagram, as I will most likely be renovating my home when these are released.
Needs must.
Because some bad shit went down in my home, guys, and I wanted to renovate it anyway, but now I don't have a choice.
Just that little extra motivational push.
Just the smell, Daisy.
Oh god, I don't even wanna live it through you. I am on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Daisy Vic Edwards, Instagram and Letterboxd Daisy. Did I say Daisy Vic Edwards for that? Yeah, Daisy Victoria Edwards for the other two. And also, very excitingly, I Love You Guys has now been released. I've been talking about it since the start of when we had this podcast. I think we'd already raised the money when we started the podcast, but we hadn't filmed anything. So that's been released. I think at the time of recording, it's been out just over a week and we've got nearly 3,500 views, which is insane. So huge thanks to everyone who supported it. If you do want to check it out, the easiest way is probably going to my Twitter and then having a look at where we've posted the links to. But we've also got very exciting news that I'm producing our director Billy's next film. So that's called Intimacy of Privacy, and we're fundraising for that at the moment. So we're doing a Kickstarter in the same way. So check out the links on there on the tweets. Amazing. If you're interested. Go on, the independent filmmakers. No intellectual property being public domained over here, though.
Would you like to use my flat as a location so that I can claim some of the upscaling things as attached to me?
I hate to say it, and this isn't an excuse, but it's all filmed outside. In Salisbury.
What a shame.
I'm really sorry. We'll find something. We'll find another loophole. We'll find it. It's sending your ideas. It might be too late, but send them in. Anyway, thank you everyone for tuning in. As always, if you do enjoy listening and you haven't done it already, please do give us a follow or a subscribe. And if you've been following us for a little while and you haven't done it already, please do give us a rating and review as well. We love to read those. And we hope you join us for the next episode. We will be taking on our next worst rated film from the bottom 100. See you then.